Welcome to another edition, episode 58 of the YXE Sports Podcast, live from Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar in Saskatoon. We're live on the Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar Facebook page. We are live on the No YXE Facebook page. We're live on YouTube. We're live on the YXE Sports Podcast Facebook page. We're live on not necessarily live on Spotify, but we're on Spotify. We're on Apple. Anywhere you get your webcasts, podcasts.
Stitcher.
We're here. Stitcher. Very good, Ray Morrison. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Start of March. Weather's finally starting to get nice.
I was outside for an hour and a half today, and I could have stayed outside for another couple hours.
Time flies.
So nice. Yeah. Nice to see the weather break a little bit. So that's good. What about you?
Yeah, good. No, like I said, just enjoying this nice weather. It's March. I think it's a 5-week month.
Yep.
So I think everybody's excited about that. And we're excited to be live at Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar. We have another $25 gift certificate to give away as well. So make sure that you're leaving your comments on the live stream. If those comments are used, you could win a $25 gift certificate to Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar. We might as well just call this the WHL episode.
Yep, absolutely.
Because the Central Division has started. We have a guest that will be joining us in a few mere moments as well. But like I said, the Central Division has already started for the Western Hockey League. And over the weekend, Bob Ridley, longtime play-by-play voice of the Medicine Hat Tigers. In fact, the only play-by-play voice for the Medicine Hat Tigers
ever had since they joined the Western Hockey League in like 1970 or somewhere around there.
Called his 4,000th hockey game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
That's terrific. Yeah. And he's one of the best people you'd ever want to meet. So that's great news. And we also want to pass along some condolences to the Prince Albert Raiders head coach, Mark Habscheid, as well, as he lost his brother, Robert, not too long ago. So Mark, a good Saskatchewan guy. We're thinking about your family. We're thinking about the Raiders hockey team as well. So there's a couple of footnotes from the Western Hockey League. But kudos for tipping your hat to Bob there. That's terrific.
Team
good
bus
stuff.
driver for 45 years too, or something like that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
He only stopped doing that a couple of years ago, but he was the bus driver and radio guy for well over 3 decades for that hockey team, for sure.
That's amazing. Like we said, it is the WHL episode. The Central Division is already underway, and the WHL's East Division is currently in a hub in Regina. They're kicking off, or dropping the puck, if you will, on the season just under 2 weeks from now. March 12th, which is a Friday, will be the first day of the WHL's East Division. And joining us from Regina, from the hub, Swift Current Broncos head coach and director of hockey operations, Dean Brockman. Dean, thanks for joining us. And how are you?
Yeah, good. And thanks for having me on, boys.
Yeah, you're looking like $1 million, buddy. How's the quarantining going?
Well, good. So far, so good. It's hard to argue with having your own room and meals brought to you every day. And you know what? It's been pretty good so far.
I have it on good authority from your family that stops when you return to Saskatoon here. I'm just saying, just as long as you're aware of that. That's great.
Well, I'm certainly hoping they're watching, and it'll continue when I get home. But
that's great.
Wishful thinking.
Well, Dean, it's been almost a calendar year since you last played last coached, a meaningful hockey game. I think March 12th of 2020 is when the WHL suspended their season. So by the time that you guys play again, it'll be a full calendar year. How excited are you to get back behind the bench, and how excited are your players to get back on the ice and play some meaningful hockey?
Well, I think they're all excited. I think there's kind of a sense of nervousness that comes with that, you guys. I think certainly it's no season like any other, and I think for us, our team is ecstatic that we can play. Like, we feel very fortunate and grateful that we can. And the proof will be in the pudding. I think there's going to be ups and downs and ebbs and flows in this, but for the most part, our guys, we're excited to get here. We got into Regina Saturday night, and they were all early, which is nice to see. So it just tells me that our guys are ready to get going.
With regards to your hockey team, I know Aiden Bullich, he's back with your team, and he was kind of one of the top 3 or 4 guys that you had. That's probably a carryover to this year, Dean, but maybe just talk a little bit about your hockey club and what it looks like, because youth is definitely the order of the day in Swift Current.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, for us, we've approached it. It was a long-term reset. For the Swift Current Broncos when they won the league championship. Unfortunately, we took the brunt of that the last couple of years with, not having a lot of draft picks and prospects and so on and so forth. But hey, that was part of the job when I took it, and we've kind of climbed our way back a little bit. Last season we had one drafted player in our lineup. The rest of the guys were either acquired through trades that we had to get draft picks for, or, just guys that, potentially were free agents, sort of say. So, we took those guys and did what we could do with them. And now this season, we go from having one drafted player to having 9. So we're pretty excited about it. For us, we have 5 16-year-olds here and one 15-year-old, our first rounder. And, those are the core guys that are going to be a part of the reset. And it's an exciting time. I think, working with the younger guys, I feel we're going to be for sure one of the youngest teams here. And, we can't use any excuses. We want to go out there and play hard every night. And I'm looking forward to it.
But having said that, though, you took over in June of 2018, Dean. So I'm just wondering, and we all know that junior hockey is kind of cyclical to a certain degree. So are you starting to get the sense that this team is getting to be yours now?
You know what? When you have, 16-year-olds don't make impacts in the league, I guess. I always say it takes 4 years of a draft cycle to be in your lineup to be successful. And we've just got one. So,
okay. Yeah.
So that for us, we feel like we're at a quarter tank. And, next year when we get our other 16-year-olds from the 06 draft in it, we're going to be in halfway. So it takes time, and, it takes a lot of patience, just because we feel like, the go through the draft is the most important way to rebuild.
We got a question from Richard that I think is directed at you. And he says, are there any special things that you were doing for your youngest players who may be away from home from their family for the first time? Now, that's obviously something that not only happens in a bubble or a hub, but any year. So kind of how do you navigate with those 16-year-old players that are potentially playing away from home and their families for the first time?
Well, it's been real interesting because we've been, quarantined to our rooms, and everybody has single rooms here. So, Zoom has really saved us, I think, and, all the virtual kind of calls that we've had. I think, we do have some special guests that are going to talk to our players. We have a young man, or we don't call him young, I guess, but he's younger than I am. Sheldon Kennedy's going to, talk to our guys on a regular basis here. And yeah, we've done some things. I mean, certainly it's going to be a little bit different. The excitement is still there, but I think when they kind of feel a little bit of homesick and kind of get down on themselves, because this can be a really tough league, we'll be there for them. And, we've got a lot of avenues that we can approach. We have a team chaplain, we have mental health people that are involved. So, for us, they're going to be safe and secure. So, we feel good about it. And once we get to connect with them on a personal side and can be on the rink and on the ice and, on the bench together, it should be good for all players.
You had to talk to us for like 10 minutes before we went live here. So first of all, Ray and I want to apologize for having to deal with us for that long, but
it's not so bad for you, Matt. It's Ray that I'm worried about.
Well, there you go.
Oh, here we go.
But you were mentioning that it was your first kind of winter in 23 years that you've been able to spend at home. So over the past 12 months, from last March until basically now, just kind of what has it been like for you and for your players to having to stay at home and not being able to coach or play hockey, but how have you guys been able to kind of stay in that hockey mindset over the past year?
Well, I think there was always, a hope of playing a season. There was always times where you didn't know if that was going to happen. It was very difficult. Every region had its own, situation. In BC, you couldn't, skate more than certain amount of guys. So everybody dealt with it a little bit differently. We did a lot of different things to keep our guys, invested in us and us invested in them, I guess, whether it was, doing some questionnaires or having quiz masters or virtual calls. Guys always could, felt like they could reach out. We tried to touch base with them when we had news of what was happening or what was going on. For me personally, COVID was okay. I mean, certainly I spent time at home in Saskatoon with my family, and I was very fortunate. I got to spend a lot of time with them, and as much as they're probably happy to boot me out the door because they haven't seen me this much in 23 years, but it was good. Obviously different times. I think the message for our players and everyone that was involved was being adaptable. I think times are changing, and the world is going still as fast as it was before, but just take the time to kind of watch it go around and not let it go by you.
So, Dean, let's talk a little bit about that then, as you talk about kind of a 24-game season, just how different the world is. And there is no playbook for a pandemic that comes around once every 100 years, obviously. But have you talked to any other coaches or anyone in the Canadian Hockey League about what this is going to look like, a 24-game season? There's no plan for a playoff or a championship or anything like that. So I guess that would be the first question. And the second part would be, so what's the goal for the players then? Obviously, when it's all done, you'd like to be 24-0. But beyond that, I mean, when you're not really playing for a title or a championship or there's no end goal, how do you go about getting what you can get out of these junior age players?
Absolutely. I guess, for us, Ray, yes, we did reach out to the other coaches, the other 6 coaches that are in the hub with us. We got on conferences last week just to talk about, what other teams were planning to do with, so-called spare time, so on and so forth. The thing that we have to remember is that everyone is in a little bit of a different, set in their cycle. And what I mean by that is, we have a young team where PA may have an older team, where Brandon has an older team. So everybody's goals and accomplishments are a little bit different. For us, the Swift Current Broncos, there's a lot to play for every player. And what I mean by that is, the 20-year-olds that we're carrying, there's going to be NHL guys in the crowd, or not in the crowd, but in the stands, with masks on, it was totally different. But, for them, they want to, try and earn that contract. And for some of our 19-year-old guys and late 18-year-olds, they want to get drafted. So for us, there's a lot of things to play for, personally, but, for us to be able to play the game, in these circumstances, we're grateful to the Western Hockey League. We're grateful to the Swift Current Broncos for allowing us this, but, we want to develop the young guys. It sounds like a cliche, but for us, we want to get better every day, and this is a great opportunity. You have everyone under one roof. They have nowhere to run from me, and we're going to try and develop them, not only as hockey players, but as people. This is an understanding that, hey, we want to make sure that they utilize their full potential, not only as a hockey player, but as a person as well.
We saw when the NHL playoffs resumed this past summer and this past fall, there was a lot of talk about in the hubs in Toronto and Edmonton, kind of the level of play and what's the competition going to be like? And is it going to be as good as what the regular season last year was because they had such a long layoff? So competition wise, what are you kind of expecting from the teams in the hub? Is it going to be same high competitive East Division WHL hockey like no other, or, kind of just take us through what you think the competition is going to be like and the level of gamesmanship, I guess, between you and your opponents?
Yeah, you know what? I think everybody plays the game to win, Matt. I think that's the most important part, and that makes it fairly competitive right off the bat. And players play hockey to win hockey games and develop and get better. And when I reached out to some of the NHL guys that were in the hub and in the summertime, and the World Juniors, obviously, and we even went to resources from the Q that had started their season, and we tried to piece things together as best we could. I think, again, adaptability is the key word. For us and for everyone else, I feel the hockey's going to be great. There's going to be the ups and downs. There's no doubt about it. You can't be, it's your longest road trip of the year. I guess that's how we can approach it. And you're gone for 2 months from your building and you're playing on the road. So it'll be different once we get to play, obviously, because there won't be, no fans in the stands. And we have to create our own energy and our own momentum and our own fun and our own learning. And all those things are important. So, I expect the games to be highly competitive. The 6 other coaches that we're going at it with, they're going to want to win, and so do we.
Yep.
And I think that's what's going to make the hockey really good.
Swift Current Broncos head coach and director of hockey operations, Dean Brockman, joins us on the line from Regina. Of course, we are live at Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar, as we are every single Monday. And Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar is teaming up with the Saskatoon Blades. So make sure that you get a hold of Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar for all the information on that. But of course, the Blades at the Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar have a fantastic partnership. So make sure to give them a call at 306-382-1717, or you can come and join them at Idlewild and Circle Drive. Ray?
Well, it was interesting. Speaking of the Blades, we did have Ryan Marsh in a few episodes ago when the plan wasn't really as outlined as is now, Dean. And, you talk about that preparation. So, what do practices look like? Like, do you get scheduled times beforehand, and what do you do with that ice time? And, how do you kind of prepare your team against 7 other teams or 6 other teams that are going to be kind of in it in unusual circumstances as you are?
Well, I guess, like I said, Ray, we're in a little bit of a different mindset than maybe some of the other teams that are established or it was their year. I think for us, the game plan is basically to, provide the necessary tools to play within our systems. And what I mean by that is, we'll have some skills, and then we'll go right into what we need to do as far as, getting the guys ready to play our systems. And you get an hour and 15 for about 6 days. And, that'll be, kind of like a mini training camp. And, you'll be able to tell the guys that, potentially could skate. Like I said, every region was a little bit different, and some guys got to skate, all the way right through, and some guys got only a week. So there's going to be a lot of. You hope that the energy and the buzz and the adrenaline will get everybody going right off the bat, and you're going to have your good days and your bad days. But we just have to remind ourselves that we're very, very fortunate to be able to do what we're doing.
So that's a good point, because I don't know if I've heard this then, Dean. Over the 24-game schedule, what does your practice schedule sort of look like?
Well, it's a very short period of time, so there definitely won't be a lot of practice time, just because you're playing so many games in a short period of time. So, yeah, you're going to get the odd practice. We're carrying 26 players, as many teams are carrying that, and then some. So you're going to have those days where those guys that aren't playing will have to carry the team a little bit in that regards. And, as guys, we're going to have our bumps and our bruises. So, yeah, it's the development will have to come from within the game. And, and that's, I think, also important, especially for young players.
Sometimes it's painful, but that is the best way to learn, isn't it?
It is trial by error, Matt, for sure. For sure.
You mentioned a few times throughout this interview just, how grateful you are to be able to play some sort of hockey this season. But, how much are you going to miss the fans back in Swift Current this year?
Well, you know what? We really feel not only for the fans, but, the billet people that are, so dedicated to the team, that are kind of our lifeline. That they host these kids as if they're family, and obviously to not see their friendly faces and sharing their stories and experiences with us, is really disappointing. And to our corporate people that support us, have supported us right through the pandemic, and and the number one source is definitely is the fans. They're so loyal and so dedicated to their team. We're trying to play for them. Obviously, if you need reasons to play for anything, there's a town that has a history of hockey. There's so many great players that have come out of there, and it's because of the fan base. They are educated. They know exactly what's going on, and certainly they know a lot about the team, and they follow it on a daily basis. So, you know what? It's disappointing, because it's such a great atmosphere in the iPlex, and it's too bad we couldn't be there. But again, we're grateful to be playing hockey.
See, Monty is in there with a jab for you, Dean. So that's good. You got to love the fans of this league. It is fantastic, and that is a great question that Matt asked. Dean, you're going to be coming up on 3 years pretty quick with your time in Swift Current. And I remember when you were hired, I was thinking, in a team or in a league where some teams are owned by NHL teams, right? You're going to one of the smaller markets in a community-owned setting that you were so used to in Humboldt. Has it been what you thought it would be, basically going to the Western Hockey League, but one of the smaller markets in a community-run team? Or, how is it versus what your perception of it was before you took it on?
Well, that's a great question, Ray. I think, for me personally, it's I felt when I took the job, I really just wanted to make sure that Swift Current was viable, and had sustainability all the way through. And we're trying to do that. I think, we've kind of dug our heels in for a couple of years, and obviously the pandemic has slowed us down. But, 2 years of watching players, trying to coach a team, trying to put players together. It's been really, really busy, and it's great. I definitely have a lot of passion for it. Unfortunately, what goes by the wayside is trying to connect with the community, and certainly, you want to do more of that, but the priority and everybody wants to see that team, be successful again, and you feel like you owe them, another run or another championship thing down the road. So, yeah, you know what? It's been really good. I think there's been, just like every job, it has its good days, it has its bad days. We've had a lot of turnover in players, and it's been everything and more than I have expected. And I knew Swift Current was passionate about their team, but I really know now that they own the team. So that's it's been great, and we just feel that if they have a little more patience with us, we're eventually going to get there where we're sustainable year after year.
Well, Dean, just want to say thanks one more time for joining us. I know you're super ecstatic for the WHL to return. Ray and myself are super ecstatic for the WHL to return as well. So.
Yeah, thanks for carving out some time here, big man. Greatly appreciated. The abuse from you wasn't too bad, actually. That's good.
Yeah, I certainly miss you guys. Maybe not Ray as much, but no. You know what? I just thank you guys. I haven't listened to all your podcasts, but I've listened to quite a few. It's great to get that reflection on the community. You guys are doing a great job, and certainly, it's great to have friends to talk to. That's for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Dean. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, you bet. Take care, man.
Okay. Best of luck, Dean.
Thank you.
So, current Broncos head coach and director of hockey operations, Dean Brockman from Regina. You can tell that he's just a man that loves being in the community. That was evident when he was the head coach of the Humboldt Broncos of the Saskatchewan Junior League, and now he's doing the same things down at Swift Current.
What's interesting is when he was in Humboldt, I used to go down for their lottery days, and I used to do some radio cut-ins, and him and I would be side by side, and we'd see people come into the lobby of the Elgar Peterson Arena, just ready to buy their tickets and engage with Dean. And that's, and so to hear him say that he kind of misses that because major, junior, there's so much more travel. There's so much more to do on the hockey side. To hear that he wished he had a little more time on the community side doesn't surprise me at all.
Right.
That's just the kind of guy he is. So that's great. That
speaks volumes about his character. Just
Absolutely.
A good, hardworking Saskatchewan small town guy is Dean Brockman. So, Dean, once again, thanks. Almost ready to wrap things up on this week's episode of the YXE Sports Podcast. But first, some NHL news, Ray. The Montreal Canadiens, of course, last week fired Claude Julien.
Yep. Dominic
your
Ducharme
Habs
taking over. Yeah.
So
it's not helping.
As a Habs fan, just your thoughts on that.
Well, I think something had to give there. I mean, this is a team, they started the year so good, right? They were running neck and neck with Toronto a little bit. On the back end, they were a very mean team. I've said on more than one occasion that I like that Romanov because he got, he was mean, but for whatever reason, that team started running around a little bit in their own end. I mean, the Ottawa Senators look like the defending Stanley Cup champions some nights against the Montreal Canadiens, which is something that really shouldn't be happening when you're, in Montreal situation. So, we'll see what comes of it. I'm not sure that's a long-term fix for the Montreal Canadiens, but nonetheless, we'll see what happens with my Habs as they try to get it turned around here, because it has been an absolute free fall here in the last 3 weeks of the North or the Canadian division for sure.
The Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Edmonton Oilers tonight. Of course, the drop date of this is Monday, March 1st. So if you're listening to this after Monday, the Leafs would have already beat the Edmonton Oilers. And right now, the Calgary Flames and Ottawa Senators are just under midway through the first period, and it's 0-0 there. But all of a sudden, the Senators, they've won 3 games against the Habs this year. They have 7 wins on the season, and they're slowly but possibly surely climbing out of that North Division basement, because Vancouver is in an absolute free fall right now.
And that's so hard for me to watch with Braden Holtby. It really is, because he's such a good person, good family. But yeah, and I don't think, everybody knew from the World Juniors that Stützle was going to be good for the Senators. But I don't think that people thought. I don't think people understood how good he was going to be, but he's been a real impact player so far. So that's been good.
Well, I mean, the Ottawa Senators have nothing to lose, right? And there's that age-old adage in sports that sometimes playing against a team that has nothing to lose is the most dangerous team to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So they
Too
just
stupid
go
to
out.
be scared.
Yeah, not a care in the world. And
exactly.
they beat the Montreal Canadiens 3 times and get their head coach fired. So big thanks for joining us on this week's episode of the YXE Sports Podcast. Thanks to Dean Brockman again. And the winner of the Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar gift card is Monty Klassen. So Monty, please get a hold of us and or the Wendell Clark's Classic Grill and Bar, and we'll get that gift certificate in your hands. Might as well do this again next Monday.
Might as well.
So until then, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
See you then.